what has been going on. Like, I guess we'll just jump into it. It blows my mind that it's been, and I'm like, what happens in 10 years? Like, so much happens in 10 years. You've
Yes.
been all over the world, you've been traveling. I just love watching. I love that about Instagram and social media. Like, you could just watch everyone's as much as we share, you know, 'cause there's so much more going on in life, but just seeing what you're doing and like how you went and you like kicked butt and you did not take no for an answer. And look at you now. Like, when you put that post up about buying your house, I literally was getting a tear. I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. You're gonna like bug out. I was like, I know we took a picture together at that event that we did. And I
Yeah.
was like, let me find it. Tell me why is it August 15th, 2024?
No.
Yeah. I
What?
had no idea. Like, I knew we met, I didn't even know. I just knew it was like 10 years ago. I was just
Yeah.
like, I know it was like 10 years ago. Let me find that picture. Wild that it's damn near to the date.
Actually, because today's what, the 18th, the 19th?
21st,
Okay. Whoa. Because I feel like
right?
when I was like, I was like, oh my God, I forgot. And then I messaged you and it was like, yeah, it was like around
It was
that
around the
date
15th. Like,
too.
it was like a week or two ago.
Wow.
No idea. And I was just like, oh, it's because we're magical. That's all.
Absolutely. That's what it is. Yes.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
And you have been up to so much. I mean, we're pretty much already getting started. Like, we're like jumping right into it. I need to give
Right.
my spiel first, but what's
Yeah,
been
let's
going
jump
on?
into it. Wow. I mean, in 10 years, like we were saying, so much can change and has changed. And, I have a lot of moments of reflection quite often. And I feel like that's really what keeps me in this state of mind. And, I think that, my story is that I come from a little town in New Mexico and dirt roads. I lived in a trailer, no sidewalks, no trees, it was just desert. We dug our own sewage tank. We lived on propane. It was like one of those things. So it's like
Wow.
for me, all I had was like magazines and like MTV, and that was kind of like my outsource to like this is where I want to be. That's where I belong. So, I mean, getting here and just hustling day one off the ground. And, I did so many events just to be able to be involved with the beauty industry in any way, shape, or form. And of course, that's where you and I met. And, what a whirlwind that was. I mean, working that event, you never know who you're going to meet and you never know who's going to
Hmm.
impact your life in that way. And, since then, I mean, I never stopped. I never stopped hustling. And I think that most importantly as well, I never stopped believing in that dream that is what got me here, And
Hmm.
so I think that I'm very persistent when it comes to something that I want or something that I want to do. I'm gonna do it. I'm a go-getter. I'm a doer. I didn't know how, but here we are. And I think that really, I'm really all about connecting with someone energetically. And I think that my clients have been, incredibly, generous and loyal. And, I'm still on the ride. I still have to pinch myself every now and then and um, remind myself that this is not a dream,
Hmm.
and this is the reality that I manifested for myself. So it's pretty wild to think about.
In manifestation, like I love the space that we're in. My whole podcast is about spirituality and how we've gotten to where we're at and what we had to go through, what you had to go through. Because when I met you in 2015, did you just move to LA?
Been here already for 5 years, so I moved in 2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that even that event was so wild because I started in marketing and PR and I did that for like 5 years after you and I met. And then I somehow got linked with this music producer, a really big music producer, and I did assisting with him for a couple years. And then I was like, I don't know what I need to do,
Mhm.
but there's some kind of fire in me. And I quit that job, and everybody was like, that's not a job you quit. That's not a space. Like a million people moved to LA to get that job. And I was like, it's not it though. And he
Yeah.
was great. Everything was great. It wasn't my thing. So the drive, and that's what I love about you so much, is like to get to where you're at, to be able to push through the no's, to push through the rejection, to keep your dream there, that to what it takes to do that is just like it's mind blowing. So we didn't even get into what you do. So let's talk about what you do first and foremost.
Wow, wow. Thank you for saying that. I mean, it's so nice to see people who have known you for such a long time and to really, from your perspective, it's really, really a beautiful thing. So thank you for saying that. I am a celebrity makeup artist here in LA. It's what I do. I'm also a founder of my beauty brand, which is Dream Labs, featured here.
Mhm.
Um, so, I'm just a kid with a couple crayons out of the crayon box.
Oh, oh my God, I love that. I love that. It's the artistry because the creativity. There's so much because to the I'm not sure where your religious beliefs are, but like the belief in your higher power, the connection to your higher power that I'm sure you've had to hold on to get to where you're at, to start a whole brand now, to start another business now on top of what you do. That is just the motivation that's why I put this podcast out. People need to hear these stories and be like, damn, like I have a fire inside of me. I have something, I don't, even if they know what it is, because like I told you when I started, this is nothing near. I did not in a million years think that a podcast was going to be my passion. And here we are. So that passion in you, that the crayons, the coloring, the creativity, how do you connect your spirituality and if you want to talk about anything as far as like prayer and whatnot, and the belief is really what I'm getting to, like
Yeah,
believing in yourself and trusting that a higher power, like you're doing the work and you're being guided in that way.
absolutely. Yeah, I think there was a point in my life, maybe it was, I actually think it was 2014. So this is actually a year before I met you.
Mhm.
I had my biggest fear happened, and that was losing my mom.
Oh,
And, I had just moved her out here to LA. I had just found a way to get enough money to bring her out here and to be with her. And it happened so abruptly and so quickly that actually that whole year for me was just completely numb. I don't really have a lot of memories from that time because I feel like I was just on autopilot the whole time.
yeah.
I think that there was a moment where I didn't really have time to process it. I had to go straight to work. I was working in retail at the time. I think I went to work the next day and I just
Yeah.
pretended like nothing happened. And, it's one of those things where you start asking yourself, why? Why did this happen right now at this moment? Like I needed her. Like I was just getting to a point of being able to change our lives and a lot of whys and a lot of hows and that sort of thing. And um, I really began to have this sort of affinity for nature and really kind of just like taking walks, in the park or going on a hike and just kind of silencing all I lived right in the middle of Hollywood. So like
Oh gosh.
I needed to get out. I needed to have that peace in that moment. And I think that there was something about this connection, this feeling. I really kind of started to have this like overwhelming feeling of like almost like an embrace when I was out in nature. And that to me was like my connection with my mom and her
Mhm.
spirit. And I think that that was something that I wanted to continue to have. And, it's something that I still practice to this day is just being outside in nature and having that sort of connection. But I really think that that was the moment for me where I really, really knew that, there's definitely something bigger than myself. Um, the universe really speaks to you in different ways. And, that was really where I feel like my true connection and also my like, wake up, like, this is still your life and there's still so many things to be grateful for and your purpose on this earth is not over. And it was really a big wake up call having those sort of therapy sessions, prayers, manifestation, whatever you want to call them,
Mhm.
during my nature walks that really allowed me to really see the vision and to really
Yeah.
get back on track and to fight harder than I ever had before.
Yeah, it's that pain is power. I say that all the time. Like you could let it happen for you or to you, and one of them's going to take you down and one of them's going to build you up. So it's I asking why is so powerful because again, it could go one of two ways. Why is this happening to me? And if it comes from a place of empowerment, you can see the power in it. You can see the tools. You could see a purpose in it. But if it's like one of those, oh my God, everything is always going wrong for me, why? The universe is going to remind you why everything keeps going wrong for you. And I literally say that in every single podcast episode because it always comes up as a big thing that a lot of us human beings go through. So, in the process of figuring out how your pain is your power, what was that like? Because losing somebody, I've lost more people, unfortunately. It was just, part of life, but I've lost a lot of people and figuring out the fine balance of healing, of mourning and still pushing through. And then being so fresh out in LA and starting your career and figuring out, I mean, with Dream Labs, I'm sure that was a couple years post that experience, but in that process, what was finding your power in that like? How did you do that?
I feel like during that time, again, I can't really explain how I received these sort of messages of like, you gotta keep going, you gotta keep fighting for what you're here for. I think that really kind of reminding myself of, again, those times where I lived in the middle of nowhere and now, I made it to Hollywood by myself. I didn't have a handout. My parents unfortunately couldn't help me financially. It was one of those things where it's like also just like marking like, look how far you've made it already. And I
Hmm.
think that it's like, well, you're already here, what's the worst that could happen,
Yeah.
and because at that point, like I said, my biggest fear had already happened. So it kind of just took away these sort of like doubts and these kind of barriers that I think we create for ourselves. We tell ourselves all the time, oh, I can't do this because I don't have the money.
Right.
I don't live in a big city. I don't, there's so many excuses that we put in front of ourselves. Nobody put them there. We did.
Yeah.
And so I think that the process of tearing those barricades down, I think was really and seeing the steps from it. Like, okay, it's like one step. Okay, we did this. Like, take yourself out of your comfort zone and seeing like the effect of what
Yeah.
tearing down those barriers had really gave me that sense of like, wow, like I am the master of my own destiny.
Yeah,
And
like seeing what you're made of.
yeah, for sure.
Hmm. The grit in it and sustaining it as well, because I'm sure you've had big milestones in your career. And something I talk about with a lot of clients, because I do one-on-ones with clients as well, is can you sustain it? Because we could manifest, because I've manifested plenty of things, I couldn't sustain them. So they
Mm,
just slipped through my fingers. So
yes.
looking back at one of like your first big manifestations that happened, what was that process like? And what happened as you got that, as it became true?
Wow. I mean, I've been really fortunate enough to have a lot of these dreams and these manifestations come true. I think the earliest memory that I have of that is seeing my work in Times Square for the first time. Actually, I wasn't even there. It was somebody sent me a photo of my work in Times
Oh
Square.
my God.
That to me, it felt like a different reality. It felt like how did this little boy watching his MTV, watching TRL, in Times Square to now your work is there and like millions of people see this and maybe there's somebody that's inspired by that look that you created or whatever the image was, something like that. So I feel like that for me was like, people talk about their like I made it moment. To me, that was really like shocking and I made it. Like I gotta keep going, I guess. Like
Yeah.
let's, you gotta run with it. So it was really like almost like an out of body surreal experience to fathom that. It
Hmm.
was it seemed so far away from me growing up that to actually see it with your own eyes for the first time was really, I feel like it changed me.
Yeah. And sitting back, like you said, realizing like it's a dream and it became a reality. Because how many people can say that they seen their work in Times Square? There's like, that's not too many people. And to come from where you came from. And I like what you said going back a second when you were talking about, like, I didn't come this far just to come this far. And when life hits you sideways, it's like, think about all the investment of time because time is priceless. Time is the most expensive thing. We don't get that back. Money we could get back. You could spend $100 and you can make 1,000 tomorrow. You're getting money back, but time is priceless. So looking at how much you've put into this industry, how much it's put into you, and now birthing Dream Labs. But in that process, I want to talk about rejection and authenticity
Mm,
because those two areas I figured out in starting this process are two things that really take out a small business and someone who is like whether you're a makeup artist, a podcast host, an influencer, authenticity and rejection are two things, and fear of being seen. So three things actually.
mm.
And if you want to touch on any of those and any like words of encouragement for anyone on their journey that can help them out.
I think rejection is one of those things that it happens so often as an artist, as a creative, as anybody who's putting themselves out there. I
Hmm.
think that you could have, I think of, Tyra Banks saying that she went to 10 modeling agencies and only one of them said yes. And
Wow.
I think that that's something that's always resonated with me is that I think early on in my career, I was told I was too much. Your makeup's too bold, it's too bright, it's too much, and with that, especially when you're really developing yourself as an artist, you kind of listen to that and you're like, you start having these moments of doubt as like maybe it is too much, like maybe this and that. So then you kind of start to like change and like you want to see, does this give a different reaction?
Hmm.
And there were moments where I was like, okay, let me set back, let me do something more natural or something more digestible or something more user
Mm.
friendly. And, I think that as an artist, like I'm capable of doing different types of looks. I think that I just preferred doing bold looks. And during this time that I was creating these sort of natural, neutral looks, I didn't really have fun with it. I didn't really have that same fulfillment that I had when I was being creative. And so what I realized is that it wasn't authentic to who I am as an artist and as a person. And I think that, you know, what I've realized is that again, I think having a range as what I do as a makeup artist is very important, but also when you are yourself, you're going to draw the right people to you. And
Hmm.
I think that, again, I've been very fortunate to have some really great clients that have allowed me to do some really fun, bold, sort of experimental looks. And that's really what, you know, kind of shined a light on my spotlight. And what I do is having that sense of creativity and being authentic to myself and also opening up a different perspective to that person. I think that,
Hmm.
again, going back to with the way that we limit ourselves to things.
Yeah.
Working in retail, I had somebody that would come in all the time. They're like, "Oh, you know, I'll wear anything but not a red lip. Like that's too much. Not a red lip." And I thought to myself, "Who told you that red lips wouldn't work on you? You
Ooh.
know, who said that? Did somebody come up to you and said,
Wow.
you know what? Don't ever wear red lips again?" You know,
Yeah.
You told yourself that. You maybe tried it. Maybe you didn't try it. I think a lot of people don't even try something and they already
Hmm.
cancel themselves out of it. Oh, that's just
Oh,
not for me. It's too much. So
damn.
exactly, right? And it's like we put that in front of ourselves. So I think that being able to be in beauty and what I do is that, and I think that this goes back to purpose, is opening up your eyes and your mind to the idea of more,
Hmm.
the idea of a plethora. Anybody can look good in anything. It's just how you style it, how you wear it, how you make it you.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what the point of this story was, but
Yeah, no, it went exactly where it was supposed to. That
yeah,
was
it's the
so perfect.
challenges and the red lips. So I think that opening up people's eyes to, it's like, and I love a challenge. I love when someone would come in and be like, "Oh, I could never wear a red lip." I'm like, "Really? Let me show you." You
Oh
know,
my God.
and explaining like, okay, like what makes you like talking about it. Like it was kind of therapeutic. Like, what makes you afraid of a red lip? Because red is the boldest color of lipstick you could wear, I guess, besides black. And I think that people always come up with this idea of like, well, I don't want to look like a clown. I don't want to look
Mm,
like this, or I don't want to draw too much attention to myself. So, that opens up the conversation of like, are you happy with yourself? Do you want to blend
mm,
in rather than stand out? So I think that having those moments of tailoring and customizing a red lip and showing something to someone they would never in a million years think to choose for themselves, those were moments where it's like, wow, like I
mhm,
now gave this person the power to see themselves in a different way. And I
mhm,
think that that was really what is this whole purpose of beauty, is just allowing yourself to see yourself in a different way and enjoying all of the aspects of yourself.
I love where that went so much. And that's something I ask people a lot is like, who were you before they dimmed your light? Because we
Mhm.
all shine so bright. And then unfortunately, more times than not, someone tells us, you're too much, you're too this, don't do that. When I was little, people told me I was too dramatic, I was too emotional. And the funny thing is that's my superpower. I really believe like the thing that people try to suppress when we were little tends to be the one thing that is our power. But just speaking on generational trauma and whatnot, a lot of it was like for survival, be quiet, be suppressed, don't say nothing, and be small. So a lot of us were taught that, especially people of color were taught that for
Mhm.
survival. So getting out of that shell and being like, actually, who did tell me I couldn't wear a red lip? And if no one said that, why do I feel that? Why don't I
Right.
want to be seen? Why don't I want to be bright? So to have the opportunity to work with females and even males and tell them like, no, shine. Wear the red lip. Wear
Yeah.
the hot pink eyeshadow. We're gonna make it work.
Yes.
That is power in your hands. Like you have a whole magic wand with that brush in your hands, and that is so beautiful. I love that.
Thank you. Wow, that's you're 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 getting into my soul right now.
And why are you still sleeping on your potential? I'm here to disrupt your spiritual programming. I'm so excited to finally share that my Patreon is open. This is where the real work begins. You can get access to me one on one via Patreon, exclusively available for paid members. You'll get weekly intuitive insights, journal prompts, and a community where we uplift each other. Join us on Patreon. Your evolution is waiting. Doing what you do, helping people find and see the beauty in themselves. I worked at Clinique for like 3 seconds when I was like, I think I was like 19. And I used to love doing the women's makeup that would come in and they would come. I remember there's one time brilliant, really specific. This little boy came walking up and they were really big about like, don't just be doing people's makeup. They have to like buy stuff, for you to do their makeup. And this little boy came up and he was like, "Can you do my mom's makeup?" And I was like, "Is she buying anything?" And he was like, "No, we can't buy anything, but I really want her to feel pretty." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I was like, if I get in trouble, so be it. And I didn't do nothing crazy. I just put like a little bit of foundation on her, some lip, and like a little bit of eyeshadow. And
Mhm.
just seeing his face and seeing her feel pretty, because she wasn't really done up. And look, I got kids. I get it. Like, it ain't easy keeping up with kids,
Mhm.
you know? But it
Yeah.
was just having that moment that you get to show people how beautiful they really are. What is that like for you? And like, is there any examples where you did someone up and they really just like it brought something out of them?
So that's the beauty of working in retail, is that you really never know who's going to walk through that door. I
Hmm.
know that for me, I mean, there was so many instances. I worked at Mac, so it was like we were like pumping out makeups like all day long, all the time. And of course, it was with a purchase as well, that whole thing. But you know what? I never really dismissed anybody
Hmm.
for not having, there's a difference. I could always tell when somebody was trying to take advantage versus somebody who just
Yeah.
maybe wanted to try something and that whole thing. But for me, any opportunity to do makeup on anyone in the beginning was like, I gotta do it.
Hmm.
But I feel like during this time, I think in my earlier days, even working in like the bridal industry, you know, bridal industry as a makeup artist is tough. You have a lot of people who are very, very, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
energy going around, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I can remember specifically, I had this bridal party and it was like five bridesmaids and the bride. And there was two of the bridesmaids and they were very, this is back in New Mexico. They were a little bit more, what's the word? I was like, wait, I'm recording this. They were just not, they were like,
Particular.
they like lived on a farm, they had horses and stuff, so beauty wasn't their first priority, I'll say that, in terms
Yeah.
of like products, beauty products and things like that. So two of these bridesmaids had never worn any makeup in their entire lives, ever.
Oh.
And these were women who were like in their like mid 20s at the time. I was like, is there a way that you like your makeup? And they're like, oh, I really don't want makeup. Like, I just, my sister, the bride, wanted me to do this for pictures. And I'm like, okay, like, I totally understand. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you've never worn makeup before. This is your first time, but this is exciting. I don't want to jump the gun and put you in a whole different look that you're not
Yeah.
used to. I don't want you to feel like somebody else. I want you to feel like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, during the time we really got to, and she was very tense to begin with. She was very like, ooh, like, what is he
Yeah.
putting on me? I'm scared, this whole thing. And it's so interesting because as we began the application, like, we just started having conversations, and I just kind of wanted to get to know, like, her perspective and maybe find out, like, why she's never wanted to explore, the
Mm-hmm.
idea of beauty products or things like that. So, came down to it that her parents were like super strict and
Mm.
you can't have this, you shouldn't wear this is that. And so, I asked her, I said, what is your favorite feature about yourself? And she said, well, I really love my eyes. And I said, well, that's what we're going to focus on today. You
Oh.
love your eyes. So I love your eyes too. I think they're beautiful. And I really want to make them pop and stand out today for the photos and just for you to have. So long story short is that we were talking and chatting about the application, and I noticed her body language. She begins to like loosen up and just kind of relax. And she's kind of like, she's not answering me in short answers anymore. We're having a conversation, we're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think she started to trust me. And I think that once that trust came into mind, then and the mirror's there the whole time. She could look at herself, and she's like, I don't want to look till the end. And I
Oh.
said, okay, great. So we finished the makeup, and she looks at herself and just immediately bursts into tears.
Oh.
And I thought to myself, oh God, I put too much makeup on her. It's over for me. It's a wrap.
Oh.
And she just was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Of course I did waterproof, knowing that it's a wedding. But she was like, I've never seen myself look like this before.
Oh.
And that to me was one of the first times that I felt like, imagine being able to give someone their own power.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're almost revealing it for them.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful moment. She immediately like hugged me, like she grabbed me, and I was like, whoa, that
Oh.
kind of thing. She almost like she was like, this is like such a blessing. Like she was really just like overwhelmingly, and to be honest with you, I didn't do a lot to her. I
Yeah.
really didn't. But it was those little things that made herself see herself in a different
Mm-hmm.
way that really made her so emotional,
Yeah.
and made her see herself in a different way. So I think that was one of those moments. And I actually have had quite a few of those type of moments where, people maybe didn't see themselves as beautiful or didn't see themselves as pretty. And by being able to express to them, like, I love this about you, or these differences about you. My
Mm-hmm.
eyes are too big. My eyes are too small. My lips are too
Mm.
small, and it's like, learning how to work with that and make it you and really
Yeah.
customize that and educating them throughout the process. I think that that is something that I feel like holds so much power. And you never know what someone's going through, like
Mm-hmm.
like you said, it's like I've had a client before where she was just diagnosed with cancer and just needed to feel like
Mm,
herself again, and being able to see herself in the mirror and being able to teach herself ways to make her feel beautiful. I think that um those types of experiences, like it's so enlightening and empowering to be able to reveal something
yeah.
about someone that they maybe didn't see before.
Yeah, makeup is such a ritual for females and growing up, and I always think about like the first time my cousins were like, "You need to start wearing makeup." And I was like, "Why?" And they're like, "That's what you do." Like
Yeah.
I think I was like I want to say like 12, I started wearing my like wing queen till the day I die, like bury me in my wings.
Yes. Yes.
So, it's very much a Hispanic girl thing too, you know?
Yeah.
So I remember my cousin started showing me how to do my eyebrows, and then my homegirl started showing me how to do my wings and to put I would do wings and no mascara, so it was just the wings. And then she
Yeah.
was like, "No, you got to wear mascara on the bottom and the top." So
Mhm.
it's such a rite of passage learning how to do your makeup and feeling beautiful. And I remember during one phase of my life, I was like, it was a really low time for me. And my best friend was like, I know you weren't too bad because you were still doing your eyebrows. And when you stop doing your eyebrows, that's when I know it's bad. I was like,
Yes. Wow.
that's so true.
That is so true. That is so
Hmm.
true. And not to interrupt you or anything, but it's so
Hmm.
funny that you say that, because I think my mom was one of those people that she would wake up and on her like nightstand was her makeup kit. So
Yeah.
before she even got out of bed to like make breakfast or anything, she would get into her little pouch. She would wake up, she would take out her compact, and she would put on her brows. This is a popsicle stick. Don't ask me why I have this here. Um, and it was so funny because my cousins would be like, wow, like why do you have to wear makeup to like, cook breakfast and stuff? But it's like that was her power.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
was how she felt, how she wanted to present herself to the world.
Hmm.
And I think that's so interesting, especially I think that in the Latino community is like brows.
Hmm.
Don't mess with our brows.
Don't play. I think about that. My abuela too. She was super güerita. She was like red hair, super fair skin, and she had that red
The Maybelline
CoverGirl.
pencil.
Or
Yeah,
was it Maybelline? Yeah,
it was
the
Maybelline
red
that you
the red one.
burn.
Yep, and she would burn it and she would get it and she would do her eyebrows. And I remember like that was actually my first introduction to makeup. I would take that from her and I would start to put it on my eye. I had no idea what I was doing. I'll put it on my eyes. And I remember one time I tried to use her CoverGirl little compact, but she was so
Yeah,
witty and you see me clearly not a match. But I was like,
not a
I want to
match.
wear it. And I wore it and I probably looked
No.
ridiculous.
That's so funny because I have the exact same experience. My first time wearing makeup, I locked myself in the bathroom and I took those red pencils. And yeah, it was a one size fits all. It was like brows,
Hmm.
eyes, for some girls,
Lips.
lips.
Yep.
It was like a versatile pencil, and it was like the blackest black pencil you could get. And yeah, it's like there was something about it that you see them and you're like, wow, like they don't go a day without putting this on. So
No.
like for me as a curious gay teenager, I was like,
Mhm.
I want to feel pretty too. So it's very, very interesting. But yeah, definitely the days of the liner and the powder.
Yeah, it was a thing. And then even at
Yeah.
that same time, my cousin, I was like his doll. Like he did my hair, he dressed me up, he did everything. He did like I have a chunk of my confidence because of him. He raised me essentially. He literally potty trained me, makeup, hair, everything. Like God bless his
That's why
soul.
you're so fabulous.
Oh no, I was raised by gay men. They are a huge
And
factor in my life. So
yes.
it's a thing. It's a thing. And I remember he would like sit there and just tell me how beautiful I was. And I would sit there and be like, no, I'm so ugly. Look at my hair so big and poofy and my skin so dark. And I remember one time he did all my makeup on my hair. And I don't know where he got the money. I'm not going to ask him at that age. We were like 13. And he took me to Walmart to get pictures done. And he was like, I want you to remember how pretty you are. So let's go get your pictures done. Like the men that raised me, God bless them. They are just absolute angels. But makeup is such a rite of passage for young girls, for young boys that were sitting there. Like when him and I were little, he would dress up in heels and we would come running outside in heels and he would get in so much trouble. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, why? That's what he wants to wear. But machismo culture and whatnot. But it's just, oh, it's such a beautiful time. I love reliving those memories. That's beautiful.
Wow. That's amazing because it's like I mean I could definitely relate doing that with my cousin and it's just it's just so interesting how creativity is connected with makeup and it's an art form.
Yeah.
I think that people ask all the time, like, when did you start doing makeup? It's like if you really go back and I talk about the crayon box is because I used to be obsessed with coloring. Like
Oh,
and I used to love like the Disney princess ones because they had faces.
yeah.
So I can make them green and I could put like a black lip on one of them
Oh
or
my
you know what I mean? It's
God.
like you don't even realize that like subconsciously you're doing makeup. Like you've
Mm-hmm.
always done makeup, you
Yep.
know? And I think that that is something again nurturing that as a kid and my parents allowed me to go to the toy aisle and not tell me these are for boys and this is for girls. It was just
Mm-hmm.
like whatever you get drawn to. And I was always drawn to like the art supplies, the little
Oh,
art kits and stuff like that. So yeah,
yeah.
it's a thing.
The creativity. I love artists. I love creative, whether it's music or artists like yourself. My oldest kid is actually trans. They identify as male and they are so creative. Like the art that kid makes blows my mind. But with artistry and creativity, I know there's a lot of emotions. I see more times than not, there's a lot of emotions and creativity. And to get super spiritual with it, creativity is your sacral chakra, which is located like for females, like in males too, but like just to give an idea, like where your ovaries are, where the female reproductive system is.
Mhm.
And with creativity, there's a lot of emotions in there. So growing up, was there a link between your creativity and emotions?
As you're saying this, I remember that every time that I was sad or angry or disappointed or happy, I
Hmm.
feel like I would always have some form of like watercolors or like crayons and I just wanted to draw, like I journaled a lot and in that journal I remember just sketching and just painting and that kind of happened. Like, if I was mad, I was just like, ugh, listening to
Oh,
like my crazy music and it's like I needed music and art to get through what I was going through, to feel what I feel. Like I think that I really attach myself to music and I love that primarily I do work in the music industry is that I feel this sense of connection with storytelling. And I
hmm,
feel like music in general is really telling the stories of our lives or things that we can relate to or go through. And I feel the
yeah,
same way about art. I feel the same way about drawing, about writing, about doing makeup is that it really tells a story. And I definitely feel like you could always tell if maybe I was upset or angry. I used to be like a little punk goth kid. So I would come out of the room and I'd have like a black eye. And it's like, "Urgh," I wanted people
yeah,
to think like, oh, he's scary. And,
yeah,
that was also a way for me to kind of put up this sort of armor is that if I
yeah.
looked like a crazy kid, then
Hmm.
maybe they wouldn't make fun of me for being gay.
Mm.
So it kind of was used as like an armor as well too.
That's so interesting because my kid, they're a sophomore now, but they have entered the emo phase where it's all dark clothes, hair covering the face, like super like red little highlights in their hair. And it kind of sounds a lot like what you were saying because I know they do deal with bullying too because of how they identify and whatnot. So, but seeing the creative outlet and knowing that there's a creative outlet is so beautiful.
Mhm.
So again, just tying that to like the emotions and whether it be art, whether it be journaling, meditating, going for walks, like when you're talking about going out in nature, that's really big for me. I stay taking walks. Like I should be way thinner because I walk all the time, but I love food too much. So it's just a balance.
Same.
I
Yes.
just love pizza. But let's shift into your career and where you're at. Like I said, I've seen you all over the world and
Mhm.
you've traveled and you worked with such big names. What does your routine look like to keep you grounded, to keep you a little bit humble? Because I know you're humble. Like I know you are so authentic and down to earth, but you gotta have those moments of like, I worked with her. I did that makeup. Like my makeup was on a Grammy red carpet. My makeup was on a cover of this magazine or in this magazine. How do you stay in touch with yourself through all of that, all the amazing success that you have?
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's been such a blessing to be able to travel and to see the places that I've seen, places that I never ever thought I would ever get close to. Um, one of the things that I love to do is as soon as I get to a new city and if I have some free time, the first thing I want to do is I just want to walk around and explore. I'm always looking for like gardens in every place that I go to. I have this connection with garden. My favorite movie growing up was The Secret Garden.
No way. That's one of my favorite movies.
No, it's so
That and The
good.
Labyrinth.
Oh my
Yes.
God. Yes, there's something
Wow.
about going to a place that makes you feel safe.
Oh
And I
my
think that that movie for me was like, I wish I had a secret garden where I could go and lock the key and like nobody could mess with me or like nobody, and I could just have my peace and like, that whole thing. So I think that being able to kind of have that same feeling of like a place of safety and the comfort that that gives me. I've got to see some of the most incredible gardens around the world, like Versailles and Singapore's botanical gardens and
God.
things like that. Like, I think that going back to being reflective, like, I'm really a person that takes the time to really look at it yourself and just be like, wait, I'm in Switzerland. How did I get here? I
As a
got
makeup
here.
artist, as a professional makeup artist, like who can say that?
Right. I'm here doing what I love to do. And my answer is always like, I tell myself, you had a dream and you went for it. And to me, I think that reminding myself that, like, this isn't normal. This isn't something that happens, especially to a kid like me, where I come from.
Yeah.
And just having those moments of just like, even just out loud, I'm just like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to the universe. Thank you to God. I practice gratitude daily. I think that's something that I try to think of at least 5 things a day that I'm grateful for, reminding myself of, there were days where I didn't have food in my fridge growing
Mm.
up. There were days where I didn't have money to put gas in my car. And now to have these sort of experiences is really something that I don't take lightly. And I really,
Hmm.
really don't take for granted either. And just reminding yourself of where you came from and having those moments and going to those like safe spaces that remind you of when maybe times weren't as good. It does a lot of healing to that inner child.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and I'm still working on it.
It's a work in progress, and you've
Yeah.
accomplished so much already. I love the reflection because a lot of times you have big dreams. I have big dreams. I talk to a lot of people on this podcast that have very big goals. And like you said, they're not normal. None of this stuff isn't quote unquote what is normal, but for context,
Right.
it's not normal.
Hmm.
And to sit back and reflect and think about like, wait, I have actually come kind of far. I'm not where I want to be, but I damn sure am not where I was.
Yes.
So giving yourself grace is key because this journey isn't easy. And people around us, I think really, I credit a lot of the people around us. I'm very blessed in the sense of I don't have anyone that said I couldn't do this. Like when I told my family, I'm going to quit my job and start something in the spiritual space, everybody was like, finally, thank you, do that. What are you going to do? I was like, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I didn't have a single person be like, don't quit your job. That's so dumb. Maybe somebody should have low key, but that's another conversation.
Right.
But until this day, like till this day, the support and belief that I have is absolutely mind blowing. Do you have people like that around you? And if you do, how did you find them? Who are they? How do you maintain those relationships?
Ah, I think having a great support system is one of the biggest factors that helps anybody achieve what they want to achieve. I
Hmm.
think that, I spoke a little bit earlier. My parents allowed me to and supported that creativity in the decisions that I made with my toys or what, films I wanted to watch or TV and things like that. But definitely my mom, I think that when it came to makeup and even discovering it on myself, like there was a moment where like the first moment where I got my first like makeup lesson from my mom
Oh.
And as a boy, as a Latino boy, getting that, I realized how special that was, and it's a moment that I'll never forget, and just being able to allow somebody to be themselves, I think is so liberating. As a young, I came out when I was 14, and so I feel very lucky that I've been able to live more than 75% of my life as my true self, and I know not everybody has that privilege. Those are some early memories of having that support system. But also, I think now, I have a really wonderful partner that is always, I'm so spontaneous and random. And I'm like, I'm going to do this today. And he's like, okay, yeah, let's do it. You know, and I think that, I have friends that I've had, some for 20 plus years, that have seen me
Wow.
grow from this crazy teenager to where I am today, and being able to maintain those friendships. And, I really, really cherish their opinion. And I think that's also, I'm still the same person. It's one of those things that I never allowed any sort of success to really change who I am, and
Mhm.
remembering the purpose of why I'm here, and why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love that story so much about your mom and the support. Like, that's my intention. I pray to God, like, my kid will be your age one day and successful in whichever way they are. And they could be like, my mom supported the crap out of me. Like, I drove her
Yes.
crazy, but she definitely, like, I'm their biggest cheerleader. So, like you said, that alone is, especially being our age and, the generation that we grew up in, our parents, bless their hearts, the generation they grew up in, having that support from your mom is so beautiful. That just, like, warms my heart so much. Let's talk about Dream Labs though, because you have, again, so much success in your career. You've traveled, you've worked with some huge artists. What is Dream Labs? How did that come to fruition? What was that process about?
Yeah. I mean, the thought or the idea of having my own brand one day was always something that I put in the back of my mind. And I really was like, when I have the experiences, and when I have this whole thing, when I have it together lined up, then I'll start a makeup line. People's question was always, I always get asked, like, so you ever coming out with a makeup line? You ever coming out with a makeup line?
Mm-hmm.
And my idea was like, hopefully, one day. But I think that for me, like, I've been very lucky enough that I grew up in sort of this time period of where you had the makeup greats like the Kevin Aucoins, the Sam Fines, in the 90s, and also the digital age of today. It's a very different world in this medium that we do, known as makeup. And so I think that having that knowledge of like product and performance, from what was, but also having the knowledge of what is the future. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's really where I come in, is that I'm really in that sweet spot of having the expertise of someone who's been in the industry now for 15 years, and I was obsessed with product. I still am obsessed with product, is that I wanted to know everything about it. I wanted to be like,
Mm-hmm.
what does it do? Why does it do it? How does it do it? What's in it for me? How long is it going to last? Through everything, I was just so obsessed with that, early on in my career, working in retail, learning out about that. A lot of the trainings that I received for skincare and ingredients and the chemistry behind so many different things,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that taking all of those years of knowledge of that, and also thinking about like what's missing, or why isn't this working. And I think that, um being in circumstances to where I'm in, the humidity in Thailand, or I'm in the dry desert in Phoenix, or
Mm-hmm.
the rainforest in Costa Rica, like being able to see how things work in different environments, and kind of having these moments of like, okay, like, I wish this did this
Mm-hmm.
in this environment, or this sort of thing. So that was really where the concept came. I have a client now that we were on a world tour, and I just could not keep her makeup on for the life of me. She just
Oh
would,
no.
when you're dancing and singing live on
Yeah.
stage for 90 minutes, 2 hours, spotlights on you. It's hot. There's so many different elements coming at
Mm-hmm.
you. Of course, you're gonna sweat. And a lot of performers, don't use a lot of makeup because it's just gonna sweat off. You see a
Yeah.
performer always with a towel, that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wanted to create my first product, which is called Eternal Priming Water.
Ooh.
Really came from that sort of need to have a solution to be able to wear makeup and be able to be active, sweat, oil, but maintain the makeup and really make it
Mm-hmm.
last throughout anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that I really thought of the idea for a solutions based cosmetics company, which is what Dream Labs are, is that we're starting off with the idea of how do you make the makeup that you already have work better? So
Ooh.
it's sort of providing a solution. We live in an overconsumption of makeup products and things. So I think that for me, I wanted to really start out by providing solutions that
Mm-hmm.
I've been lucky enough to learn throughout my career and actually make them. And it's been such a fun process. And it's been so well received by artists and beauty enthusiasts and people alike that it's a really, really exciting time. And so many things are going through my mind right now. But yeah, it's been a dream come true,
Hmm. And
literally.
solution based, that is like perfectly put because I'm so big on like words and positivity. I'm like little miss like what did my friend call me? She calls me like the positivity police. 'Cause I'm like, oh no, don't use those words. We got to use better words. So I say solution based a lot of the time as well. Because I'm like, we don't have
Yes.
problems. We just got to find solutions. So I love that you found a solution to something that we already have. So it's not even reinventing the wheel. It's like, no, you guys got makeup covered. Let's make it better. How
Yes.
can we add a more value, more benefit to that? So
Yes.
again, just being such a light in the space and not only making people feel beautiful, but helping them maintain what they already have. Because Lord knows makeup costs an arm and a leg. So let's make it
Yes.
last.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. So you have that product. How many products are on the line right now?
So as of right now, the debut product is Eternal Priming Water. So
Hmm.
that's another thing too. I think that with the idea of like overconsumption, I wanted to introduce things and like give it time to simmer, give it time to marinate. I want people to really understand and really build that trust of a product that actually works, that actually delivers, that works on so many different types of skin, so many, even issues. If you have sensitive skin, it works with so many different types of people that right now we have that one product, but we're definitely working on all of the rest of the pieces of the puzzle as we speak. So yeah, it's really sort of that. And things, take time. Like I want to make it right. Initially when we were testing Eternal Priming Water, I sent it back 27 times.
Oh my gosh.
And those little details, those little chemical compounds, even going down to like a molecular level,
Hmm.
I drove the cosmetic chemists nuts. They didn't answer my phone calls. They didn't answer
No.
my emails because they're like, oh God, Alex is calling. You don't want to see me coming because, again, we're that solution based. So if it's not working,
Hmm.
we need to change it. So
Yeah.
lots of really cool things coming. But for now, we got Eternal Priming Water.
Yeah, I love that, especially if it's good for sensitive skin. Because I have eczema, so I'm super limited. Like everything makes me flare up. So I'm very limited on what I could use on my skin. So I love that you kept that in mind too for us sensitive girlies.
Yes, have to.
You're amazing. It's been so inspirational. And something else, one last thing I wanted to point out, and then I'm going to ask you my little question that I told you about. But you had said like with Tyra Banks and how she went to 10 modeling agencies and we got so many people telling us no. And I think in this day and age that we are in right now, where so many people are starting their businesses, keeping in mind that you're gonna have rejection, it's gonna be redirection, you're going to get no. I reach out to a lot of people to be on the podcast. Oh, I'm very blessed with most people I asked, they've said yes,
Mhm,
but being okay with rejection and
mhm.
remembering it's redirection, I think that's a very big theme in this beautiful session that we've had today.
I love that. That I'm gonna remember that.
Mhm.
Redirection.
It's always redirection. It's never rejection. That
Yeah.
is beautiful. This has been so amazing. It's been so inspirational. And like I said, I've been watching you for the last 10 years and I can't wait to see what the next 10 years brings you because hard work pays off and you're proof of that.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. And congratulations to you. I think that it's all about just inspiring others. So thank you so much
Hmm.
for having me.
Inspiring and holding space. And
Yes.
one last thing with your life, your beautiful, colorful life that you have, if we were to make a movie out of your life and there was a theme song to that movie, what would the song be?
Oh my God. I wish I would have thought about this more. I know you sent it to me. Oh my God. Why am I immediately going to Miley Cyrus, The Climb?
Oh my God, I love that song.
No,
I
like
love that
literally, I
song.
was just thinking about it. I was like, what describes this? And it's like, it's not always about like the ups and downs that we have. Sometimes it's enjoying that journey of the highs and lows and being able to appreciate that and know that it all goes down to where you're meant to be.
It always
Wow.
works out.
Sorry, that was so good.
I love it.
It's true. It's
It's such
true.
a good song. Like that song really, I think, is underrated. It is
Uh,
such a beautiful song.
I can almost see
See it.
it.
Let me not make him go deaf though.
Well, you got the mic.
No, don't give me a mic.
Ah,
You are so amazing. That's a beautiful song. It's been a beautiful story. It's been so inspirational. And like I said, I mean, we technically got all kinds of books of life we could read, Barnes and Noble, the library, but hearing it firsthand and hearing someone go through it and what their story was like is so impactful. If it helps one person, like job done. So I'm just so
absolutely.
grateful that and you were willing to be on here and share a little bit of your story with us.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much. Sorry it took a while, but
Oh
hey,
no,
we're
it's
here.
good.
And that the dates, like I said, that whole thing, that was for a reason. So it's incredible. Yeah, mind blown.
Totally mind
Wow.
blowing. Not surprised. Like if I told you about my life and dates and times and the way stuff works out, it's just like there's something bigger at play. I don't question it. I just roll with it. I'm here for the ride. So
Right. Yeah, same. Yeah, hands up.
hands up.
Oh
Thank you
my
so
God.
much. I truly appreciate your time and you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, I was so pleasantly surprised to see you asking me this. And I was like, oh my God, wait, she still follows me? She still knows? She sees
Yeah,
everything?
everything.
It's amazing. And you've always been such a sweetheart and just so supportive and everything that you do. So yeah, congrats to you.
Cheers to so much more.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.